Welcome to Movie Battlegrounds. I'm your host tonight, Douglas the Irishman Castle, the one you hate to look at in those promos. Welcome tonight as we have a battle of titans. We have RJ versus Asher. Welcome everyone. Let's get this match going. Let me first introduce my judges that we have tonight. We have Nick. Go ahead, Nick. Say something about yourself. Introduce yourself to the people.
What's going on, everyone? Great to be here. My name's Nick. It's my second match I'm judging. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to a good fight. Thank you for having me. Gonna be a good time.
And my next judge, we have Andrea. Andrea, say something to the people. Tell them who you are.
Hey guys, I'm really looking forward to this fight, especially the first one. It's gonna be so much fun, and let's see what you two got.
All right, short, sweet. I love it. I love it. And introducing first, our first player up to bat, introducing himself, the man, the myth, the legend, RJ.
Yeah, I don't know about any myths or legends or anything like that. I am a dude, so we'll go with that one. But yeah, I mean, it's always fun to be here at Battleground. I haven't been here in a while since I lost a while ago. But you know what? This is always fun to come back to. It's just fun to talk about things that's not trivia. It's fun to not have to actually know everything about these movies that we're about to talk about or these people we're about to talk about. So yeah, it's just a good time for me. I just got off work, so this is a nice way to just relax before I go back to watching Game of Thrones.
All right, I respect that. The man himself, the dude himself, explaining that he's trying to finish this up so he can go watch some Game of Thrones. No harm, no foul there, especially with Game of Thrones. Just saying, I can't wait for season 8. And next up, we have, I can't repeat myself, but we have this guy. I've judged with him. I've already been in, a room with him, and he seems very knowledgeable. We have the man himself, Asher. Go ahead, Asher. Explain what you are, why you're here, and what you're ready to do.
Oh, sorry, I was busy. I don't really care about this match. I'm just going to wipe the floor, classic stuff. And I'm also going to work after this, so this is a nice refresher after a long day. Yeah, I lost the last match, as you can clearly tell, but that was because your boy doesn't like alcohol. He likes other things. And it is opening day, the day we're filming this, and this is the only day the Mets are ever going to win. So hence, this is the only day I'm ever going to win. That's not true. This is another day I'm going to win. So I'm ready to kick ass, take names, and kick ass. So let's go.
Much respect. I mean, much respect in that there. All right, so what I'm going to do first before we get into it is I'm going to explain the rules for everybody so they're on the same page. Now, the first 3 rounds are the main rounds. You get 90 seconds, a minute and a half, to openly discuss about your topic. Then you get 5 minutes between the two of you to discuss and debate about why your topic is better. And lastly, you get 1 minute to close out. And then you have to win us over in between that entire 7.5 minutes. Now, if we get to the end of those 3 rounds and it's tied or it's it'll be 2-1. If it's 2-1, we move into the speed rounds. If somebody's 3-0, it's a knockout. But if we get to the speed rounds, the first speed round is 30 seconds and then 15 rebuttal. Second round is 30 seconds, 20 seconds, and then another 10 seconds of rebuttal. That round moves fast, so I hope you're ready. All right, let's jump into us with the first question. The most cringeworthy Nicolas Cage performance. And since I introduced them first, RJ, you're going to kick it off, and your minute and a half starts when you start talking.
So, I mean, cringy comes to mind a lot when you talk about Nicolas Cage, but when I talk about the cringiest, the movie I can literally no longer sit down and watch, it has to be a Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. I mean, they gave this guy a chance to try to continue a franchise, and he just hammed it up in that movie and did not do anything with it. It really makes you feel like he just went in there for the paycheck. It's not even like good fun to watch like his other movies where he does really cringeworthy performances. So it's not even like just fun to watch him do that in that movie. It's just a painful watch. You should never watch it again. So if I just have to talk about cringiest thing to watch is watching Nicolas Cage try to hold back turning into the Ghost Rider, which he does many, many times in this movie. It's just a poor excuse for a performance, a poor excuse for a movie. Ghost Rider Spirits of Vengeance, hands down, his cringiest performance.
All right. Short and sweet and to the point. I like it. All right. Asher, 90 seconds on the clock. Your time begins when you start talking.
In 1987, a movie came out by the name of Moonstruck, a movie that won Cher an Oscar and won Nicolas Cage a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actor. I want to keep in mind that this man has won an Oscar and has been nominated for a Golden Globe in 2 separate decades, neither of them being 2000. This was in 1987 and 1993. Vampire's Kiss comes out a year later and just ruins the reputation he has in Moonstruck. Vampire's Kiss is a laugh of a movie with a terrible performance by Nicolas Cage. The question is, what is the most cringeworthy performance? And I think cringeworthy speaks for itself after you have a very good performance in Moonstruck to double back and then say the alphabet the worst way possible in one scene that encapsulates the entire film. But I'm just going to also argue the entire film, his performance is cringeworthy because you have the expectation that he's going to be good after following up a very good, very award-winning film. He was nominated for a Golden Globe in the previous film, and he comes into this and shits the bed. That's why I chose Vampire's Kiss.
All right. So it looks like both of you are keeping it under time, and this is going to be a very interesting match. We got RJ with Ghost Rider 2 and Asher with Vampire's Kiss. So what happens next is we get 5 minutes between the both of you, and let's see where it goes. First person to start talking, that's when the timer begins.
Well, listen, I'm just going to say this right now. Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, yeah, they gave him a chance to finish up or continue a franchise, but you knew it wasn't going to be good based on the first one. It's not a cringeworthy performance if you're expecting it to be bad. It's a cringeworthy performance if your expectations are subverted so poorly that you have something that's really good and then he shits the bed, like in Vampire's Kiss. Spirit of Vengeance, I think, is a movie that you can laugh at. It's not really anything that holds a candle. This is a character that is pretty crazy in general. He's written as a crazy character. He's a character who's possessed by the devil and becomes a skull man, essentially, a skeleton who takes souls and seeks revenge. It's a movie that Nicolas Cage could play to his strengths, I guess, and it's something that you don't even think is going to be good in the first place based on his first performance in the movie that came out in 2007 of the same name, Ghost Rider. So I just think you chose the wrong, you had so many other options to choose from, and I think you chose the wrong one as you chose a guy whose name is Johnny Blaze. I think from expectations alone, you can see that this is clearly a movie that is trying to have fun with itself. It's not anything that's supposed to be serious. It's not supposed to be a cringeworthy performance.
You don't get people like Idris Elba to be in your supporting cast and say that they're trying to have fun with this. No, that movie tried to take itself seriously. Nick Cage tried to bring that same character he brought in the first movie and made it 10 times worse. You talk about you had a ton of movies. You went for a super obvious choice, and you even said yourself, at least it's fun to laugh at. Ghost Rider isn't even fun to laugh at.
No, I said Ghost Rider is not.
No. Your movie is at least fun to laugh at. On top, like hilarious Nick Cage moments, that movie is always at the top. So it's always at least worth the watch. On list of movies you should not see, Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance is usually on that list because it's just that bad. It's not even worth watching Nicolas Cage make a fool out of himself. At least in Vampire's Kiss, you can watch it and let him and just watch him make a complete and utter fool out of himself as he thinks he's turning into a vampire.
I think that first of all, I said that you can laugh at Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. I think Vampire's Kiss is a cringeworthy performance that kind of takes you aback because this man just was nominated for a Golden Globe for Best Actor. So he has the peak of his popularity and the peak of his critical acclaim, and he takes that and turns it into mush. He essentially shits the bed with one alphabet scene, but the rest of the movie entirely is completely bonkers, and you don't expect it. I think cringeworthy, if we're looking at the word cringeworthy, I think it's something where you do not see it coming, and I think you see it coming from a mile away based on the track record that Nicolas Cage has had in the 2000s with movies like The Sorcerer's Apprentice. Even National Treasure, he was pretty hammy. So you have a track record like that, and you expect it from somebody who did The Wicker Man, like 6 years before that. You don't expect it from a guy who was just nominated for an award the year before.
Yes, but you keep going back to that. You're assuming that people know that about him going into that movie. Not everyone who watches Vampire Diaries is going to know that he was just nominated for awards the year before. We're just talking about a movie that you're going to have to put on. And like you said, you keep talking about cringeworthy. This is a cringe. Ugh. At least in Vampire's Kiss, it's not making me cringe. As soon as he starts that alphabet, I am cracking up and wondering what the hell is this guy doing. And as soon as he's in Ghost Rider, you just watching, you're just like, no, absolutely not.
So,
this is the reaction.
1 minute.
Vampire's Kiss, at least you're getting the good laugh about it. Like, this guy is really saying the alphabet, just screaming it at this lady. This is freaking hilarious. At least I'm enjoying that.
So let me ask you a question then. Why did you choose the sequel to something that you could have just had the expectations subverted in the first one? If you're talking about a movie that's completely bonkers and something that's just very cringeworthy, how about the one of the first one? It's the first movie adaptation of something, and you chose the second one, the one where people already knew that it was going to be bad.
I chose the second one because the second one's worse. We picked the cringiest. Yeah, Ghost Rider is cringy, but you said the cringiest. Ghost Rider 2 is definitely cringier than Ghost Rider.
I'm going to do...
That answers your question.
Okay, so I'm going to do my impression of the alphabet, and you do whatever impression you're going to want to do from your movie. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, K, K. Oh, I can't do the rest. Damn it. Okay.
Exactly. I knew you weren't going to finish.
It's just stupid. Whatever.
I thought it was funny when you did it.
All right, so this match has definitely been a battle so far. You guys have a minute closing, and since we started with RJ, we're going to start closing out with Asher. And your minute starts whenever you start talking, Asher.
I'm going to list off a few movies right now. Sorcerer's Apprentice, National Treasure, Wicker Man. Follows that up with Ghost Rider, and then follows that up with Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance a few years later. This is a person that you expect at this point to have this level of shit. It is not something that's cringeworthy because you know already it's going to be bad. It is not a cringeworthy performance. I think cringeworthy is something where you have a peak performance by a man who put his all into a role in Moonstruck, something he got nominated for, and then shits the bed in every sense of the word, in every part of the performance in Vampire's Kiss. This is a man who thinks he is turning into a vampire. He takes that role and he buries it into the ground. At least in Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, you have somebody who is trying to do a second thing. He's trying to make a sequel, and he fails, sure, but you know that's going to happen already because you saw the first one. You saw it already.
All right. Let's see what RJ can do. RJ, minute on the clock when you start talking.
Look, man, you're focusing too much on all these other movies that he did bad or he did good. You're focusing too much on the fact of like, oh, we didn't expect him to fail and he did. That's not what cringiness is. It's not about expectations. It's about the reaction it gives. The cringe that makes you go like, oh, I cannot believe that is just what happened in this movie. Like I said, Vampire's Kiss, I start laughing every time I see it. Ghost Rider, I saw it once. I couldn't believe I wasted my money on it. I almost walked out, but I wasn't going to waste the $10. That's a movie that I will never go see again. I'll never recommend it to anybody. And if anyone does watch it, I know they're going to just go, yeah, that's why people told me this is bad. At least Vampire's Kiss, everyone's going to tell you're you're going to get a good laugh out of it because he's freaking insane in this movie.
All right. Finished with time left. All right. So this was incredible battle. I love the cringiness of Nicolas Cage. He's a guilty pleasure of mine no matter what. So I'm going to go to my first judge. Nick, what do you think? What do you feel, man?
What's going on, guys? What a great first name this actor has. That's all I have to say. Great arguments come from both sides. I will have to say that all I was getting from Asher was the expectation based on other movies, and I think RJ did a pretty decent job of sort of dismantling that argument in the sense that not necessarily everyone's seen Moonstruck or knows that he was nominated the year before. I think a cringy performance is something that holds up, not something that fits within the time. So everything RJ said about Ghost Rider 2, that it was a performance that killed the franchise. It was hammy. It's not fun. Asher, I got to be honest, even when you started doing the ABC thing, I was getting a kick out of it. So I think that sort of played in his favor. So I'm going to give this point to RJ.
All right. Andrea, let's hear what you got. What do you got?
This one's really a close one for me. But I would have to give this one to Asher because I really agreed with the statement about it was a very poorly executed subversion, the Vampire's Kiss one, and Moonstruck was a great movie, so I would have to give this one to Asher.
All right, so it's down to me and my vote. So a couple of things that I want to go over. Asher, I'm kind of in the same page with Nick when it came to how you were arguing it and what you were arguing for. When you were arguing the facts is that for its time, you know, he won an Oscar, so or he won a Golden Globe and then he won an Oscar. But your expectations is something great. What to me is the fact that RJ debunked that when he said time of frame really doesn't matter. You know, it's what's the cringiest, and how he defined it as breaking down a soon-to-be franchise, you know, and explaining more why it was so cringy. So RJ is getting my point this round, but heck of a fight so far, guys. Heck of a fight so far. All right, we are up to question 2. Question 2, best Hitchcock film. And since we started with RJ last round, we're going to start with Asher this round. So Asher, minute and a half on the clock. It starts when you start talking.
Okay. I just want to point out that I'm very happy neither of us chose Psycho, because Psycho is the wrong answer, hands down. So the perfect Hitchcock film, in my opinion, is something that's a master of suspense. His name is a master of suspense. That's what he goes by. So how about something where it's an isolation movie about a guy who cannot move, and he's watching from afar somebody else take advantage of somebody else, essentially, and just murder somebody. That movie is Rear Window. It's a 1956 classic that's on the Criterion Collection. It's ranked as one of the top movies of all time. It is a perfect movie when it comes to isolation, when it comes to claustrophobia, when it comes to voyeurism. I think this movie has everything you need to see in a movie that is from the master of suspense. It has great shots, great jump scares for an early time in his career. And it's really a puzzle piece. It's really a stepping stone for what this man is to create in the future. Anyway, Rear Window, I think, is a classic masterpiece that truly encapsulates the form of a voyeurism film, of a suspense thriller, of an isolation film at its finest. I think Rear Window is the best Alfred Hitchcock film to date.
All right. And you got that in there with time to spare. All right, RJ. Let's hear what you got. Minute and a half on the board for you when you start talking.
Yeah, so I had to go with The Verge just because when I think of Alfred Hitchcock, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. And I know it's for most people. You know, most people, when you think Alfred Hitchcock, you're going to think of two movies. You're going to think of Psycho and you're going to think of The Birds. The Birds has made such a lasting impression. When you're talking about a movie that can get people to be paranoid around a creature that most people will shoo away, you know you've done something crazy. And I mean, it's just such a more relatable movie. I feel like it's so relatable because it's just something that happens out of nowhere. It doesn't really put you in a weird situation that like you can't almost see happening. Like, what are the 1 in a million chances? Like, you could be in this small town and all of a sudden this thing starts happening and everyone goes crazy. I mean, he scared the hell out of me. It's one of his most notorious films to be in general as well. So I just think, honestly, to me, that's probably his best film.
All right, I like it. Opening arguments are both under a minute and a half. I think I'm going to enjoy this fight a lot. And what we got here is 5 minutes on the clock when either one of you start. Let's go, guys.
If you're talking about relatable, I talk about if my neighbor is a murderer over the fact that birds are going to fucking take me down. I don't think it's relatable at all, if that's your argument. Second of all, I think the two movies you think about are Psycho and Rear Window, because Rear Window is ranked highly on everybody's list of best movies of all time. It's Citizen Kane, Psycho, Rear Window, and like Singing in the Rain. Nobody talks about The Birds in that way. And third, if you're talking about lasting impact, they did a remake of Rear Window in 2007. It's called Disturbia. It's the same thing. You want to talk about lasting impact for The Birds, they did Birdemic. So yes, I get the lasting impact thing. But Rear Window has the same exact lasting impact. Now it's just about concept. It's about content. And I think the content in Rear Window is so much better than the content in The Birds. I actually really don't like The Birds because of how it's trying to subvert the expectations of a B movie. And instead, it's just a B movie entirely on its own. It's just a B movie and it's just bad. I just think it's not good. And today's audiences will not be terrified by those birds. Today's audiences will be terrified by Mr. Thorwald, who is a murderer trying to get a man stuck in his own apartment.
Yeah, but I mean, when you talk about that, I mean, you talk about all these specifics of why it is. You want to talk about it's a great claustrophobia, all this, all that. Like, we're not talking about being stuck in specific situations. We're talking about being stuck in something that you may never actually think you'd be stuck in. Of course, being put in a situation where you're trapped and have to watch these things go wrong, of course you're going in there like, yeah, I'm about to be terrified. You're talking about birds attack. Everyone goes into first like, why the hell would I be afraid of bird attacking? And then he went into that movie and made you know why you should be afraid of birds going freaking crazy on you, because they will F you up. I don't know if you've ever been attacked by a bird, but I have. Those mothers are crazy. I've never been put in a rear window and having to watch things go on, and I'm glad I don't have to, because I didn't want to be in this situation.
I'm very sorry that you've been attacked by birds, but a lot of people have had these bad experiences that a murderer has been in their neighborhood. It's on the news a lot. It happened, I think, like 5 years ago recently. It's something that actually happens. The Birds, I get that it's a scary movie. Yeah, I'll give it that. But the fact being that it's not something that you really think about. I think when you think of a master of suspense, you think of a guy who has these true events and makes you terrified of what's going to happen. I am terrified that my neighbor is a murderer. I think watching this film, you get a sense of looking in the binoculars, seeing that Thorwald's not there, then turning the corner, he's right there looking you dead in the face. I think that is terrifying to me. Plus,
but you just said it right there. That movie relies on real life things happening, using that to scare you already. That man took something that people would never think would happen, just birds deciding on turning everybody today, and made it terrifying.
Okay.
Your whole thing is already terrifying in itself. Yes, master of suspense, because that is already a suspenseful situation. He took something that, like, look, I'm from Texas. I'm from a place in Texas. Birds like to migrate here. When it is winter, there are birds freaking everywhere. And when I was a kid, that did not bother me. I watch the birds. I am looking around at those birds every freaking night now. When they're in my cross streets, they like to hang on the wires. Dude, they're about to go crazy. We need to get out of here. We need to go. That's what that makes you think about.
If we're doing personal things, then every time I hear a scream from one of my neighbors, I think they're about to get murdered. After watching Rear Window, I think it's something that's very, very scary to me. incredibly scary. But I want to get away from that for a second, and I want to talk about how he treats the women in both films. I think Grace Kelly is a very well thought out character in Rear Window, and I think Tippi Hedren's character, or whoever's playing her in The Birds, is just, he puts her through hell. It's incredibly bad, and the relationships between the man and the woman in both films is completely different. You have James Stewart and Grace Kelly at the top of their class and the top of their peak of their existence on Earth as actors, and you have them as a loving couple.
About the actors. We're not talking about the people involved. We're talking about the movie itself.
Why no? Wait, why are we not talking about the people involved?
Or anything like that?
They're actors. They're in the movie.
I don't even know about Rear Window until you brought it up until like things brought it up, and I have to look at a list.
Number one
on the top of your head, Psycho and Birds. That's what's going to come up in your head. Most people won't even know Rear Window was a movie he made. Maybe Vertical
the number
sometimes.
one film on the British Film Institute's top 100.
Good for the British Institute film. That's not who we're talking about right now. We're talking about what's the best of all time, not for the British Institute of Film.
Okay, but if you're talking about what people remember, that is what people remember. I just want to make
good
that
for the
clear.
British people. They remember Rear Window. Good for the British
Okay,
people. We're talking about in a more general sense. Not
okay,
a specific
I'm very confused what your point is. But anyway, okay.
Woo! Did this get heated so far? All right. So we started with Asher. All right, we're gonna let RJ close it. Start his closing off. And RJ, when you're ready, you got a minute on the clock.
Look, like I said at the beginning, it's all I need to say, honestly, at least for me. Look, Birds made me scared of something that normally I'm not scared of. His movie just makes you more scared of something you're afraid of happening yourself. And I know when I'm done talking, he's going to bring up all his other facts again about top of the list, top of that, top of this. Like, it doesn't matter. These are all subjective things. This is a subjective argument. So I'm just trying to convince you guys why Birds is better. And that's where I end with it.
I like it, RJ. Short, sweet, to the point. Asher, once you start talking, you got a minute on the board, man.
Okay. Subjectivity is important, I think, in this case. And if we're talking about subjectivity, I've been bedridden before, and I have been in the situation where my neighbors got into a fight, yelled at each other, and they thought something bad was going to happen because I saw Rear Window before. So if that's the case, we can throw both of those out the window. I think the issue is The Birds is a movie Hitchcock made to make fun of B movies, and in the sense of it, he made a shitty B movie of his own. That is not how you want to do something. Hitchcock made Rear Window as a case study of people living their lives in apartments very close to each other and watching other people. I think voyeurism is a very niche market that is not tapped into enough. I think monster movies are always tapped into. Voyeurism is very tiny, and he does that in spades in Rear Window. Plus, I think there's a very poor relationship dynamic between the lead character in The Birds and the male lead, because basically it's the male lead makes fun of the girl goes to San Francisco to get back at him, and then they fall in love. That's crazy. In Rear Window, the girl...
All right, time. All right. Woo, slobber knocker, guys. Slobber knocker, and it's round 2. All right. So we went with Nicholas first last time. Andrea, tell me what you got on your mind. Who you got?
Again, this is another close one for me. Based on the arguments, I think you took each other out on the relatability of both movies, because they're actually both relatable based on your arguments. But for me, I would have to go with Rene on this one because of what he said, that Hitchcock made birds that are not usually scary something that is scary, which shows the creative side of the director. So I'm gonna have to go with Rene on this one.
All right. So Rene, you got 1 point so far. So I'm gonna say what I think on this battle. This, as I said before, I pass it over to the judge. This battle was a slobber knocker. It was really good. You guys hit each other. With some valid points, and for me, it comes back to what the question is. and it's the best Hitchcock film. And yes, that's a subjective question, but the only person to bring up where a majority of people voted to be the best Hitchcock film based on his line of work, based on what he's done, was Asher. So what gets the point for me is Asher at this point. All right, so we're tied here. Nick, what do you got? How you feeling?
Good for the British people. Great line. I want to start off by saying I don't think Asher did a great job of convincing me to hate the birds as much as he does. However, that being said, I will say a couple of arguments. So I tend not to relate very well to the top of lists argument, to the Oscars argument, due to the subjectivity of those things. I don't think those necessarily give credence to movies. I think RJ's argument sort of folded on itself when he said one thing, and his whole argument was along the lines of, it's about making something that's not supposed to be scary, whereas Rear Window isn't. But then RJ said, I've been attacked by a bird and I've never been caught in a rear window. So to me, that's sort of and then on top of that, Asher had all these things like it's isolationism, it's suspense, it's jump scares, Grace Kelly. So I'm going to give my point to Asher.
All right. Heck of a battle so far, guys. We are definitely going to make it to the speed round, which I'm super excited for. Speed round is going to be a lot of fun. But first, before we get to that speed round, we're definitely going to have to hit up with question 3. And that question, if not Chris Hemsworth, who should portray Hulk Hogan? And since we started with Asher last round, we're going to start with RJ. So RJ, minute and a half on the clock.
All right, so this one took a little bit more thinking than I thought it would. But when it came down to it, there was only one real choice I could think of other than Chris Hemsworth that could really bring the hilarity and the depth to Hulk Hogan in his professional life and his personal life. And that to me is Bradley Cooper. This guy is an actor who has shown he has amazing range from drama to comedy. And I think that's what you need to play a man like Hulk Hogan. The hilarity he would put on the show for people, but the deep drama that was going on behind the scenes and in his personal life, I think there's no better man who can bring that forward than Bradley Cooper.
All right. I love how you guys just do your opening and closings because it's like super short, sweet. Let's get to the point.
Yeah.
All right. So, a minute and a half on the clock. Asher, when you're ready, you're up, buddy.
You see, I could only think of one name too, and it's Charlie Hunnam. Charlie Hunnam's the answer here. You have a guy who's been buffed for several roles. I'm going to list them off right now. Sons of Anarchy, King Arthur, Pacific Rim, Papillon. Those are 4 right there where he's played a buff guy for many roles. But I'm going to throw that out the window because I guess that's kind of a semantics thing. Let's keep going. I think if you want to talk about range, I think Charlie Hunnam has the same amount of range. He has played over-the-top characters in King Arthur, in Guy Ritchie's King Arthur. He's played in over-the-top movies like Pacific Rim. He has played a very serious role in Sons of Anarchy. He has done all of that stuff. He has the depth and range like Bradley Cooper does. And I think he can do a much better job than Bradley Cooper can do. And he can do a much better job than a man who's just pissed himself on the Grammy stage. So that's why I'm choosing Charlie Hunnam as the correct answer here. I think he has depth. I think he has range. And I think he can actually gain the muscle and the weight to play that guy in the movie.
All right. I love it. Short and sweet, like always in this game. Guys, let's make this a battle to remember. 5 minutes on the board. Whoever starts talking first,
I love Sons of Anarchy, but Charlie Hunnam has proved that he cannot carry a movie. I'm sorry. He has proven that he is not the star quality you need. He just can't hold a movie together on his own. I'm sorry. I love the dude. I love Sons of Anarchy. He can hold the show together. He cannot hold a movie. And once again, let's get the semantics out of the way. You want to talk about being buff? I need everyone to go back and watch American Sniper because Bradley Cooper was freaking jacked for that movie.
Not really.
And he was jacked in the right way that you need for Hulk Hogan. Hulk Hogan was a top-heavy man, and that's what you need in this movie. Charlie Hunnam looks good, buff, but he's all around buff. Bradley Cooper is the kind of buff you need for Hulk Hogan. He's top heavy. He's going to have a really big and solid legs. That's what you need for Hulk Hogan. And once again, man, you want to talk about like depth. Like, I'm sorry, but I just can't see Charlie Hunnam coming and putting on that character to entertain us when it needs to be him in the ring being Hulk Hogan. I'm sorry. I don't think he has the comedic chops to pull it off.
You don't think
Absolutely
he has
not.
the comedic chops to pull it
He's
off?
not done anything that has proven me that he can.
He's
not
an
done anything.
He's an entertainer who screams in almost every one of his films. Look at Pacific Rim. Look at King Arthur.
Screaming is one thing.
Well,
not every screamer can be.
Well, screaming's part of the WWE. That's part of what they do is
yes, but even in the WWE, they have proven that the guys who can scream sometimes should not be on the mic. Sorry, Roman Reigns, I love you, but you need to stay off the mic.
They have personas, though. They have personas, and this man is a fighter. He has been in shows where he is a fighter. Sons of Anarchy, he plays a biker badass in this show. And maybe... And your point is like he can't carry a movie? Well, give him a chance. He hasn't done a biopic yet. He hasn't done a biopic about a crazy man with crazy depth. He has
wasn't that prison movie you just mentioned actually technically based on a true story? So wouldn't that make that a biopic?
Papillon
I mean, I know he was the main person in it, but it is based on a true story.
Papillon's everything's based on a true story. Papillon is actually a... Papillon is an article. No, Papillon is actually a book. That's what I was going to say. Papillon is a book.
But is it fiction or is it nonfiction? Is it based on real events?
Pretty sure it's historical fiction.
Historical fiction? Okay, that's all I had to check on. But nah, man, you just can't. I'm sorry. Bradley Cooper is an award caliber actor. That man has shown the comedy chops, has shown the drama chops, has shown he can do the physicality of it too, and has shown that he knows how to put on a great show. Man, you can even put this guy behind the director chair of his own movie, and he can do it. I'm sorry, Bradley Cooper is the obvious choice for this.
Do you really think Bradley Cooper is going to go back to comedy after all of this, though? Like,
it's not a comedy movie. All I'm saying is he has the comedic chops to do the part of the comedy that needs for Hulk Hogan.
He hasn't played any. He hasn't done any comedic elements in any movies.
Rocket Raccoon.
That's a voice role.
It's still a comedic role.
If you want the physicality in a role, you want Charlie Hunnam, a man who has done Guy Ritchie's King Arthur, an over-the-top shit show of a movie. Sure, I'll give it that. But it's over the top.
Over the top. He is not. The movie is over the top. He is not.
He's fine. If
anyone's over the top in that movie, it's Jude Law. But we'll get to that.
He's over the top in that film. No, he's completely over the top in the film.
Nah, he's
If you want an over the top character, you want Charlie Hunnam, a man who is in a biker gang of anything. Hulk Hogan's pretty close to that. He is a man with scruff.
Like the Sons of Anarchy, man. This isn't Sons of Anarchy. This isn't that movie.
But you keep going back to American Sniper about. Okay, so we're at a crossroads right now because I think we're just talking about the same exact stuff over and over again. I think you're talking about
why Charlie Hunnam would be good. You've said nothing about why Bradley Cooper would be good.
I have said why Bradley Cooper would be bad. I think he's been long overdue since a comedic role that has been actually a physicalized comedic role that has to embody something. As for American Sniper, I do not think he is that buff in that movie. And I get that Hulk Hogan's maybe top
I need you to go back and watch that movie then, because that dude is jacked in that movie.
Chris Kyle?
I need you need to go back and watch American Sniper because Bradley Cooper is jacked in that movie.
I do not see that.
Bradley
but
Cooper
I guess that's subjective. I guess we're talking about subjectivity again because I didn't see it. I saw the movie, but I didn't see how jacked he was, I guess. Anyway, points across the board.
All those other dudes.
Okay, so I guess
he's honestly a bigger dude than Charlie Hunnam. He's even bigger than Charlie Hunnam anyways.
Pretty sure they're the same size.
No, I'm pretty sure Charlie Hunnam's like 2 inches shorter. Max. Minimum, he's 2 inches shorter. He's not a big dude. Charlie Hunnam is not a tall dude.
Listen, when I could only think of Charlie Hunnam. Okay, whatever.
All right. Woo! That middle round. Woo! Love it. All right. So we started with RJ in this beginning of this question 3. Asher, you got a minute on the board when you start talking, man.
Hulk Hogan is a very complex character. Hulk Hogan is a comedian. Hulk Hogan is an entertainer. Hulk Hogan is a dramatic person. I think a person with depth, with range, a person who can entertain, and a person who has the physicality and the ability to get buff in several different roles is Charlie Hunnam. You've seen it only once in Bradley Cooper's career, and it wasn't even that good, okay? His depth, sure, he has some depth. He has not done a comedic role since The Hangover and then All About Steve, which was god-awful. You look at the track record of Charlie Hunnam, he's been in some bad movies, but he's been over the top, just like you have Hulk Hogan in his career. If you want to look at the depths of a biopic, I think it would be very fun to have his first ever biopic. Give him a chance. He has never done a biopic before, and I think this is his first time to ever do it, and he has the range with Sons of Anarchy, he has the craziness of Pacific Rim, and he has the middling power of Papillon.
Time. All right. RJ, minute on the board whenever you start.
Look, you said it yourself. This guy who comes in here needs to be an entertainer and needs to hit the depth and needs to have the physicality. Bradley Cooper has proven that he can do all three. Whether you're subjective enough to not to know, he has. There are the proofs of it. You just named them all out for me. Hangover and American Sniper literally by itself proves the other two. I'm sorry, Charlie Hunnam has not proved that he can do it. Like, you may think he's not over the top in Pacific Rim. He's not over the top in King Arthur. Those movies are over the top. He is not. I'm sorry. He just hasn't done anything to prove that he can bring Hulk Hogan to life. To me, Bradley Cooper has hit all the marks to prove that if someone other than Chris Hemsworth needs to take those tights and revive Hulkmania, it's going to be Bradley Cooper.
Woo! Under the belt again. You guys are making my job tough tonight. All right. So I'm going to start this one off. And I'm going to try and keep this as short and sweet. So what hit it for me, RJ hit you too much, Asher, about against why Charlie Hunnam wouldn't take this role. He hit on every aspect that you stated. TV show, yeah, he carried a TV show, but he hasn't been able to carry a movie. And then he defended what his choice to why Bradley Cooper is able to do that with, American Sniper, Hangover. You get that. So for me, RJ's getting my point. All right. Nick, let me know. What do you got, man?
Oh, guys, this is the toughest one yet by far, in my opinion. Let's see. You both sold me on the physicality of both these two actors. I think both of them could pull that aspect off. It was a nice little shot at A Star Is Born, Asher. I caught that. But I think too much of your argument focused on the physicality. The idea, a lot of your shots against Bradley Cooper were in the sort of comedy department. I think RJ combated that pretty well with things like Guardians of the Galaxy, The Hangover, and the fact that the movie probably won't be a straight comedy. I thought that was a really good response to that. So again, super, super close. You had me at one point when you were listing off his movies, but then RJ came back and did the same. So just by the slimmest of margins, I'm going to go RJ.
All right. So RJ is getting the point for this one. Now it comes down to the real battle, putting the Dukes up, the speed round. I hope you guys are ready. First round for speed round is 30 seconds and 15 seconds. After everybody gets their 30 seconds, they get a 15-second rebuttal. I hope you guys are ready for this, and I'm going to need to hear you say it because the first person that says after the question that I give you out of the multiple choice of answers is the first to go. So speed round number one. What has more rewatchability, Geely or Jack and Jill?
Jack and Jill.
Okay, Geely.
RJ, you spoke up first. Means you got 30 seconds on the board. When you start talking, tell us why Jack and Jill's more rewatchable.
Jack and Jill rewatchable is more rewatchable for the simple fact that if you are an Adam Sandler fan, it may not be one of his best, but it's still a fun Adam Sandler ride. And honestly, the cameo by Al Pacino is one of the funniest things I've ever seen him do. And the fact that it's very meta, that he hates the whole situation at the end of the movie, makes it even better. Hands down, that's why that movie is more rewatchable.
All right, that's super quick. Asher, tell me why Geely's got it.
Okay, so if you're a fan of Adam Sandler, sure. If you're a fan of fart jokes, I guess, yeah, too. But if you're a fan of Benifer, you want to watch Geely. Both have Al Pacino in it, too. I want to mention that. Al Pacino's in both, and he does a good performance in this movie. It's really funny to laugh at both movies, but I think Geely is the one to laugh at more, because I don't like potty humor. I don't think fart jokes are really funny. I think it's funny to watch a man just ruin his life in this relationship comedy about Geely.
Time. All right. Oh, God, you guys are going to make this fun. All right, 15 seconds on the board. Asher, since RJ kicked it off, let's get your 15-second closer when you're ready.
One thing I'd like to mention is that this is a crime thriller, supposed to be a crime thriller, and it's just terrible. And it's so funny to watch because you know it is a crime, but it's actually a comedy in disguise. Jack and Jill is just a comedy who makes fart jokes. It's terrible.
Time. All right, RJ, hit us with that last 15 seconds.
You said it yourself right there. One is a crime movie, one is a comedy. Both make you laugh, but one is supposed to. One was actually supposed to be taken seriously with a couple at the time. They thought they were a power couple, and they proved their worth. At least Adam Sandler proved that he can still make you laugh every now and again.
All right, that is time. All right. Nick, I do not have any fun going first last round, so I'm going to let you go first.
Appreciate that. I think it came down to one thing, and it was actually RJ's opening statement. And it's a big if, and it's if you're an Adam Sandler fan, Jack and Jill is better. I happen to be, but I have to take into account that not everyone is, and Asher brought that up. I think you might be laughing for the wrong reasons in Jack and Jill, but that's just me. In both movies, actually. But the fact that it's a crime thriller really, really added to the sort of hilarity, rewatchability for it. Benifer, great stuff. So, Asher.
All right. Asher's got the first judge. All right. Andrea, tell us what you got. Who you got?
I'm gonna go with Asher on this one too, because of the fact that because of the one that he stated, because of his argument about if you're an Adam Sandler fan, then you're gonna enjoy Jack and Jill. But if you're like more into crime and comedies, if that's sort of your thing, then you would enjoy Jiggly. So I'd have to go with that one.
So we are going into speed round number 2. This is it, guys. Final round, and I hope you're ready. If you're ready, and we are going to start with whoever says it first. I blanked. Whoever says it first. So I will have to hear whoever says it first. And if it's too close, I'm going to have to ask my judges. All right. Which movie would be worse to be trapped in? World War Z or 28 Days Later?
28 Days Later.
All right. Asher spoke first, which means he's going to go first, which means you get 30 seconds on the clock starting when you speak.
28 Days Later is a movie that takes place in abandoned London where you get to see a man going through hell, trying to fight off zombies and trying to run away from them. World War Z is a movie that finds an antidote and drinks very tasty Pepsi. I would love to drink some sweet-ass Pepsi and find an antidote and find a cure rather than living hell in abandoned London. That's why I choose 28 Days Later as the worst living hell to live in. Both are fast zombies. That's not the point. The fact is that this place does not have...
All right, RJ. 30 seconds on the clock. Man, give it to me right now. Let's see what you got.
World War Z is the worst world to be in because it is World War Z. It shows in that movie that this is happening every single other place on the earth. All we ever see in 28 Daters is what is happening in London. We're not even 100% sure if this is going on in the rest of the world. London just may be a screwed little island. World War Z, the entire world is going to shit. Yeah, the main characters may be doing okay, but that is not to be said for everyone else who's in there. I'm not stuck in that world as the main character. I'm stuck in that world as a bystander. And those bystanders are screwed.
All right. Woo! All right, so we get 20 seconds, and since Asher's kicked it off, RJ, you get to start. Remember, guys, these times go by fast, so get in your arguments. Let's see what you got. RJ, you're up.
All I gotta keep saying is World War Z. I mean, when you watch those things actually pile on top of each other and they're able to actually defeat a structure that you build specifically to keep them out, that already proves that this is a worse world to be in. We are never put in a situation where we are in that much less hope in 28 days later. So I'd definitely rather be trapped there where at least I know I can try to get away in World War Z.
Time. All right. Asher, 20 seconds on the clock. Whenever you start talking, let's go.
Look at the sequel to 28 Days Later. They expanded. They moved past places. Look at World War Z. It's a CGI army. Look at 28 Days Later. They are ravenous zombies that are going everywhere that I do not want to face. I would much rather face a CGI army that has blank faces and stupid bodies, flailing bodies, than a terrifying ravenous...
It goes fast, guys. This time goes fast. We got 10 seconds.
Oh, 10 more seconds.
Ask 10 more seconds. Ask, you're going to kick us off with the last closing arguments. 10 seconds. Whenever you're ready.
Not only is it zombies, but you have to make terrible decisions as a human in 28 Days Later. In World War Z, I've never seen any stupid decisions being made by humans. You have to make the decisions yourself, and you have to live with them in 28 Days Later. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and see yourself as a zombie or a human.
All right, RJ. Last 10 seconds. Let's see what you got.
Once again, you're thinking about the main characters. You're not thinking about everybody else in the movie. You're trying to talk about the CGI and everything like that. We're not talking about being stuck in the movie. We're talking about being stuck in the world in the movie. So everything there is going to be very real.
Time. Holy crap, guys. Woo! This match. All right. Andrea, you get to tell us first.
You two better decide. I don't want to be making any tiebreakers today.
Ooh, this is tough. This is actually very, very tough. I actually don't know how to decide on this final one. But based on both you guys' arguments, I think I would have to go with 28 Days Later, just because of the argument made on the first opening statements that at least in World War Z there's a cure, and it was not really tackled in 28 Days Later. So there's like a hope at the end of World War Z's movie. So I think I'd have to go with Asher on this one.
All right, Asher gets the first point. All right, so I thought I knew who I was going to go with. And then the closing argument happens. The last 10 seconds happen. And he hits you in a point. I'm not trying to say this. I'm trying to build suspense, guys. He hits you with a point of you're trapped in a real world. This isn't a movie. It's a real world. RJ gets my point.
Why, Doug?
Sorry, Nick. Sorry, man. You gotta make the choice.
I want to be fully honest. I need to look over this for a second. I still don't have a person picked. The antidote thing was good. I really liked RJ's whole world versus London point. I thought that was an interesting thing. I thought RJ did a really good job at sort of getting rid of the CGI argument, even getting rid of like sort of the main characters. I thought Asher was looking a lot through the main character's eyes, whereas RJ's like, no, it's you in the world. Oh my God. This is so good. I did love the having to look yourself in the mirror comment. That's a great one. Jeez, you guys. All right. Here's what I'm going to do is I think, RJ, getting rid of the whole CGI argument, portrayed scarier creatures. And I really did like his world war, his whole world versus trying to get away in 28 Days Later. So, again, by the slimmest of margins, I'm going to go RJ. But Asher, hell of a job, man. That was insane.
Yeah.
Woo! This match was a battle of battles, a might of minds. And we do have a winner. RJ, you are the winner. So what we're going to do is we'll talk to RJ first. RJ, how do you feel about this battle, man?
That just means I have to do this again, which is always a pain in the butt when I have to do more of these. But no, I mean, honestly, the best thing I can say about this match is win or lose, when it came to the main round, I won the ones I wanted to win. So win or lose, I was already about to walk away from this match with my head held high. I won the 2 main round ones I wanted to win. The speed rounds, man, I thought I had it with Jack and Jill. Just to let everybody know out there, all right? Y'all said if you like Adam Sandler. He also said if you like Bennifer, but whatever. Y'all already made your decision. I'm not going to bring that up, but whatever. But either way, like I said, like I thought he had me on 28 Days Later because I was literally about to say it before he got it. But luckily he had to go first, so it gave me a little time to think of a better argument. And honestly, I think he shot himself in the foot when he tried to bring up the effects, because that's the easiest thing to fight when you're trying to look at it as a movie and not as a real world. But you know what? He put up a hell of a fight. We went all the way to the last one. I was in the lead, he tied. I was in the lead, he tied. So it was back and forth, back and forth. So, man, that was a crazy match. But you know what? I'm glad it's over. I'm glad I get to go watch Game of Thrones now.
Hey, Game of Thrones references in movie battles. Gotta love it. All right. And Asher, honestly, you should not have your head held low at all. Keep that head up, man. You killed it. How do you feel about the match today? What are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling good. I got the Hitchcock one. My film teachers are going to be super happy about that one. That was good. I'm also happy I got Geely, because I'm never going to fucking argue for that one ever again. Hate that movie. The movie sucks. But yeah, honestly, I think I got too caught up in semantics in the first one. And the third one, halfway through, I thought of a better person than Charlie Hunnam. I thought of Russell Crowe. And that completely derailed my arguments. I was just like, oh, Russell Crowe would be better, wouldn't he? Shit. And then also halfway through, I completely forgot about the point that was like, well, Charlie Hunnam's fought in movies, like in Warrior and stuff. Bradley Cooper's never done that. So I forgot about that piece. And because of those things, I lost that. And I should have lost that point. That was terrible by me. But I think I did a good job. I'm just really tired, and I have to work in like 30 minutes, and I don't want to. But it was a nice break, I guess. Now I have to just, drink some Red Bulls and cry a little bit. But it's all good. I'm very happy about how it turned out. So RJ's a hell of a competitor, and it was really fun.
At least you have the Mets season to look forward to. Oh,
yeah. Listen, I'm 2-2 right now, which is how they're going to be in 3 games. So just
all right.
Yeah.
All right. So before we all cut out of here and before we give our exits, Andrea, what did you feel about the match? How do you feel it went? What do you want to point out?
Did she freeze?
All right. No, she's there. Let's try that again. 5,
Oh, sorry, there was a miscommunication. Sorry, there was a miscommunication. Yeah.
Let me redo that real quick. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Andrea, how did you feel about the match today? Tell me what you felt.
Okay, this is actually tougher than the first one I ever judged, but yeah, this is very, very close. Congratulations to both you guys. You did an excellent job today. And I look forward to more of these in the future, question mark, because this is really tough.
All right, Nick. let's let you go. What did you feel?
Gentlemen, thank you for a great fight. It was a great time. On more than one occasion, I did not have a winner decided when the arguments end. I still had to think about it afterwards. So that just shows the quality of the arguments, the quality of the passion you had in your fights. I appreciate you letting me be here. You let me be a part of this. Hopefully I can come back soon as well, especially if the fights are as good as this.
All right, RJ, let them know where they can find you at.
You can find me at Full Metal Media. Of course, I am one of the co-commissioners of Full Metal Geek. So if you guys like your geek trivia, make sure you check that out. We are closed currently for the season right now for new competitors, but do keep an eye out. Keep an eye watching the matches. Play along in the comments if you'd like. It lets us know who we may look at for next season. Other than that, I only have one social media platform, and that is Facebook at Rene Villarreal Jr. Do not type in RJ. You will find 98,767 people who are not me.
All right, Asher, where can they find you at, man?
Really, honestly, at this point, I have 2 radio shows on Mondays online. You can find it at doobieradio.com, DOOBIE radio.com. Click the listen tab. And then I know our stream is kind of on the fritz, so just go to TuneIn separately to watch it. I have 2 shows. One's called The New Music Show, 3:30 to 5:30 p.m. We play new music all the time. We just played Tame Impala's new song, Patience, this past weekend. That was really, really fun. And my more favorite show, my show, As Good as Gold, 9:30 to 11:30 every Monday night. We do all-purpose stuff, so we talk about movies. We have movie debates a lot of the time. We did a huge Oscar debate this past February. And I mean, like, I'm on here a lot. I want to be on, I'm trying to get back on Full Metal Trivia. I'm just really happy to be a part of this. I host this match sometimes. Really fun.
All right, Andrew, where can they find you at?
You can find me on the different social medias. I'm on Twitter. That's Malabad Andrea. And you can also find me on Facebook by the same name, although inverted. That's Andrea Malabad. So there.
All right, Nick. You're almost there to close this out. Where can the people find you?
Almost there. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're looking to find me, I'm not super active on social media, but I do own a few rather valuable handles. You can find me at College Movie Man. That's College Movie Man. On Twitter, on Instagram, you can find me at Nicholas Tuig on Facebook, and you can find me just, I don't know, screwing around sometimes, but here I am.
All right. I got to say, to the competitors, to my judges, thank you for making this a hell of a battle. I am Douglas the Irishman Castle. You can find me at Irish King Blood. That's right. My slogan for all the leagues is I am King's Blood. For everybody here over at the leagues, we wish you have a good night. See you next time.